I feel like maybe a superpower of mine is getting more done more efficiently than a
Yeah.
lot of people. I don't go to the office and hang out with people. Like, I mean, I work, working works.
Hey, I'm Steve Oakers, and this is I'm Just Steve, the podcast with my buddy Luke.
I'm,
Dude,
I'm excited.
thanks for coming down the
Yeah.
road from Holland to Grand Haven, right?
I saw you in Grand Haven a month or so. I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, this is what I was doing. I was upstairs recording a podcast, and yeah, you were downstairs recruiting agents, right, or something. I
Yeah,
think so.
helping agents.
Yeah, Wally's got this great space, and it's worth the travel time for me, 45 minutes or so, to do these podcasts with people that I enjoy. So we've been hanging for a while,
It's
right?
been a while.
Like, when were you 30 under 30 guy? That was
2013.
Yeah, that's been 12 years,
I know.
right? So
Now
it's
I'm
been a minute.
almost 41. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Luke, just for those that don't know you, tell us the labels of Luke. Who is Luke, and like what are you what's driving you right now?
Driving me nuts. Driving me crazy, maybe. The real estate market.
And we can talk about that too.
Oh, man. No,
So-
I've been in Holland most of my life. Went to Calvin College, jumped into real estate in 2006, right out of school. So I actually went to school thinking physical therapy was going to be the key. Playing sports, being hurt all the time, and
Yeah.
first day of chemistry class, I realized that was not going to happen. It just
No.
there's a different level of smart.
Yeah.
So I was smart enough to switch to business and
Okay.
jumped into real estate, and then 2007, 8, 9 hit, and market crashed, but taught me how to work and market. And
Yeah, wasn't that amazing? Like, I mean, that's when I started in the same time period, right? And you just learned that you just have to grind, like you just work,
You
right?
do.
Like you can't let the bottom or the top or whatever like determine your outcome. It's the work that you put into it.
That's all I knew. That's all you knew.
Yeah, I was a painter, right? And it's just
Right.
like, like you get up in the morning, you do the activities, and whatever happens from it, then great. Like, but you got to just do the activities.
Right.
Yeah.
So, about me, 2 kids.
Yeah.
Got married in 2007.
Okay.
Wife out of
Kelvin too.
Calvin.
Oh
College,
yeah, Kelvin. They do a real good job of setting you guys up there, don't
Well,
they?
they go.
Was it
for
the
their
senior shuffle, or what do they call
I don't
that
know.
senior thing, where everybody like quickly like?
Well, I think it's like they don't go for like your college degree; it's your Mrs. degree. That's what it is. So yeah, young. Lived in Zealand. My wife, nurse at DeVos Children's Hospital in Grand Rapids, and just she has a passion for kids and doing that.
She's back to work there.
She's not. No,
Okay.
She has the a desire, but
Right.
that's part of the journey we've been on.
Right.
So we got married 2007. So a year out of school, and 2009 she was in a car accident.
Yeah.
Rear-ended on the way to work. Herniated disc and neck and back, and it didn't seem like a big deal at the time. Like, get checked up, but it just kind of spiraled into 10 years of chronic pain.
Yeah.
So 2009 to 2019, just herniated disc turned like that just didn't heal properly. A lot of pain that we couldn't really figure out. So it's been just this journey where a lot of visits to the ER. She did have a disc replacement years ago, failed procedures. We'd be in the ER 30 times a year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Stomach issues. I don't know. It's kind of a blur now because in 2013, so halfway through that journey, we had twins.
Yeah.
So Gavin and Nora, and they are 11. They're in 5th grade, and early on, and Kristen probably saw it more. She sometimes has some like, oh man, I wish I would have caught it sooner. Like she was in bed most of the time, and she was trying to survive life with where she was at. But it was probably around 5. It's just like he is just such a challenging, great kid.
Yeah, Gavin.
Yes, Gavin. A lot of energy, happy, super nice, but just something wasn't quite right. Just a lot more work. So he was diagnosed with ADHD at that time, and it's like, okay, we figured this out, and that just wasn't quite the whole piece, and that's kind of been that journey we've been on. Is okay, how do we get him the support he needs, and what's really going on? So then we went to, I don't know if he was struggling in school, didn't want to be, he'd be running out of class. Teachers chasing after him as I'm trying to leave. I mean, it was just hard. You've been there, I think, with
Yeah.
that kind of a journey. Just
Yeah.
seeing your kids struggle is hard.
Yeah. It is hard.
So then I think he was probably 7 or 8, where they diagnosed him with autism. And right before that, he was dealing with OCD, which
Yeah.
is kind of a hard one to put your finger on unless you've kind of struggled with it. I did as a kid.
You did yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like you when you think OCD, you think like you're washing your hands 1,000 times and you have your clothes in a certain order. It's not.
Yeah.
That's not been his journey. That's not mine either. It's more like intrusive thoughts,
Okay.
just over and over and over. He felt like
Could you give me an example of that you remember?
for me as a child.
Yeah.
My mind was telling me to say that I hated God
Okay.
over and it was just something that and this was 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And finally I just went like I said it in my head and I thought, oh man, I'm going to hell.
Right.
And just the amount of anxiety and fear that as a 3rd grader and
Growing up in a Christian home.
yeah,
Right.
and just not knowing, like, hard to talk with my parents about that and what that means.
Right.
And just a lot of anxiety from that.
So the OCD was actually the thought pattern that over and over and over again that you couldn't get out of that cycle.
It is, yeah.
And Gavin was having that same
Similar
thing.
thing. He struggled more with like thinking that God was going to kill him or kill his parents.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Just like really deep stuff. Like,
Yeah.
how do you explain that to a child?
Yeah.
Who's 8? Like, hey,
Yeah.
we can't predict the future, but that's not what God's role is in our lives either. So,
Right.
yeah, he was really struggling. I remember we went to Mackinac Island. It was like a really big flare up with his OCD, and like we shouldn't have gone. There were signs that he was struggling there. But then when we got on the island, like he was trying to jump off the boat. Like I had to hold him down to like,
Okay.
Dad, just hold me down because my body's telling me that I need to die.
Okay. Yeah.
And that it was hard. Like,
Yeah.
and then we have another, we have a daughter, same age, and she's like, what's going on? She's, freaking out. And,
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's been a journey.
So is that before his autism?
It was, yeah.
Diagnosis?
Yes.
That was still the ADD, and then starting to see these OCD things coming out.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was all kind of around the same time period, though.
Yeah, but it's hard, right? Because I mean, I remember that too, right? With my child at the time, he had similar, not that significant, but similar things, right? And you think like we're gonna do normal things and try to act like a normal family, and by doing normal things that a normal family would do, and pushing him a little bit, he'll come around to it, right?
Yeah.
Or we just need to put him in environments so that he can succeed, right? And I think that was maybe our upbringings, right? Or sports, you name it, right? Where it's like, okay, well, just do hard things, and once you push into hard things, you overcome them,
Sure.
right? Yeah. And so we think like, especially as men and as dads, like, okay, I'm going to lead this family, and we're just going to charge forward to Mackinac Island, even though this is gonna be not fun for me at all. But like to do that is what you should do, because that's just what families do. And he's gonna have a fun adventure. I can overcome it for him.
Yeah.
I don't think we think that in the moment, but I think that's like deep down, that's our thought pattern, right?
Oh,
I don't know if that was you.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, I don't think we realized to the extent of what he was struggling.
Yeah,
I think it all kind of came out. Yeah, Kristen she had a kind of a flare up. Just like an allergic reaction to something, and we had to stop at the like urgent care on the way. And I think that was kind of a trigger for him of remembering his mom being sick all the time, and worried like his if he's in his head, but in his head thinking, okay, this might be God killing my mom. Like if those were his thoughts that were going on before he told us.
Yeah.
So we got on the island, and it was like I can't keep this kid safe here. Like he was on his bike, he was riding into the buildings and falling off on purpose, and like not trying to, but just kind of weird stuff. And then I saw it a little bit later, like taking him to the batting cage, he would like hit the ground with his bat like a certain amount of time. So there was a little of that repetitive
Yeah.
stuff. So we got him into a therapist
Okay.
for the OCD
Yeah.
work, and I was like, there's still just this piece missing, and that's when he was diagnosed with autism, which he's very like high functioning,
Right.
which it makes it
There's all
actually
kinds of different scales,
yeah.
right? Have you learned all that? Like, have you figured that?
Not
like,
really.
No, you just know what scale he is.
We just know he's
Gavin.
he's got it and he's
Yeah.
Gavin, and that's all that matters.
Right.
You know, I think it can be harder for someone who doesn't really show it much.
Yeah.
For challenges with him. Like I'm very grateful it's not worse, but it's harder in a way at certain times because he goes to play with friends. He looks normal, he sounds normal, but then how he interacts with kids, it comes across as very selfish.
Yeah.
He wants things his way. He wants to play his games. He wants to, be first in line. Like it comes across very selfish. So him and having friends it's very challenging. Like it's hard to, because, and I've heard this, like a lot of autistic kids, they like just playing by themselves and being alone. Like this is not, he wants to be around people all the time.
Okay. So he's very social, but he doesn't understand the social cues of what he's doing.
Yeah. I would say he's probably more at like, if he's 11 now, he's probably more like a 7-year-old with regards to interactions.
Okay.
And it's getting better. Like we've done a lot, like Kristen, that's basically been her full-time job the last 4 or 5 years, is just kind of the care and stuff that he's got. So it's a balancing act too, because I don't know, like, Nora had like this day the other day, like, oh, you guys, you hate me. And, we were upset with how she was treating Gavin. And turns out she kind of shared, hey, like, I have a lot of pressure on me at school to like, because Gavin get bullied at school, and I have to kind of protect him. He comes to me, and then I take care of him there, and then he's kind of pestering me at home. I get upset, and then you guys are mad at me. Yeah, which is all from an 11-year-old, but that's kind of what came out.
Yeah,
and
she's maturing really quickly. Right?
Yeah, she has a different challenge. Again, there's I love Gavin, I love the kids, but we were in Florida a month ago, and he was having another flare up where he it's like he wants to throw his iPad in the lake, or we're at a restaurant and he sees someone and his mind is telling him to call these people stupid, like out loud, like, and he's kind of like and he's like he's trying to stop himself, and his anxiety is going so high, so he's running out of the restaurant. That's where I posted on social media, but I told Kristen later, I'm like, man, it would be nice to just have what people would consider normal. Like everything's just been hard.
Yeah. It's been a journey this last between Kristen and then now Gavin. Right. So Gavin does occupational therapy and all that. Right. How do you balance that world with being the dad who's also has this big career? Right. Like, cause I've, we've had those conversations a little bit over the years of, you're number one agent kind of guy, right? Like you've mastered a really sizable team and feel that pressure, right? Of still leading and growing. You're at your, what is our prime age, right? I think of the 40 to 60-year-old age is when we have the ability, we have the mental ability to do almost anything, and physical ability still there to go after it. But then you have all these family dynamics that are struggling. How have you been able to process that we're not normal, to then be able to continue to keep your own mental sanity?
Well, first, I appreciate you saying we're still in our prime, because I thought I was past that when I hit my 40s. So 40 to 60, my prime. That sounds good.
I hope not. I mean, I'm 46, so if you're past your prime, then I'm getting past.
I think when I hit 36, I'm like, I'm past my prime.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely shifts, right? It shifts. And I think we're past our like go after every little thing prime, right? But I think our strategic brains now kick in to be like, you ask like, what's the goal of this? And I'm like, there's no goal of the podcast other than to hang out with Luke. And it's amazing to like be like, hey, Luke, come hang out with me for an hour and a half. And we're going to record this video. It's going to go online, and it's going to be there for a long time. And that'll be part of my legacy and yours for a while. And like That's cool. That's all I need from it. I have no other goal in it, right? Whatever life happens from it happens. But I don't think I could have done that at 33 or 34, right?
Right.
Because it would have been it would have been well, this has got to equal this, has got to equal this kind of return on my investment
Yeah.
of time and energy, right? It's like, this is just fun and I want to do some fun stuff now, right? And um I'm not past my prime because I can do this,
Sure.
right? Right?
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't necessarily need to do 300 units a year anymore to be still Steve at prime,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
that's a hard place
It is.
to get to, right?
Well, it's a more contentment.
It is, yeah. Are you there or
No,
no?
I'm
You're
still trying
not.
to find that.
Yeah. How have you gone through that process of starting to learn that? Have you?
Um, and I'll dive into too how, because you had asked me a question before too about, how do I
Yeah.
balance my work, but
I'll ask you 100 questions. You just decide which one
decide
you
which ones.
want.
So 2000, no, so for me, like in real estate, it was always like sell more, sell more, sell
Yeah.
more. It didn't really care how I got there. I just, sell more. So from 2006 to 2022, every year I did better.
Yeah.
And then 2023 hit, and
No one did better.
nobody. Well,
I mean,
yeah,
a couple.
right. That was kind of a wake up of, you know what? It's okay to not sell more than the year before.
Yeah.
And I was okay with, like, I struggled with that at first because
Finding your value
my
in that?
business was down like 40%
Yeah.
probably. More so just being okay with where I'm at, being okay with doing my best. And even though it might not be better than the year before, it's, hey, like we grinded it out again. Like interest rates went from 3% to 8 and people didn't want to move anymore.
Yeah.
So to
That's
me,
not your fault.
it wasn't no, I didn't like it. I was
Right.
like, how can I should be able
Yeah.
to overcome this. Like,
Yeah.
when I put my mind to something, I'm usually pretty good at
Yeah.
that. That one was a bit out of my control.
Yeah.
So that I think I found more contentment in just being okay with, hey, it's good to have really big goals, but if you don't hit them, that's okay
Yeah.
too. So I think that was actually probably good for me.
Yeah. Did it
reevaluating.
was it hard though? Because it gave you time to actually like be in your brain and think about life a little bit more, or no? Like for me, it was COVID, right? We
Sure.
talked about that. Like when I got sat in the chair and couldn't go anywhere for that, 2 months, I got really busy trying to do stuff because I was like, I don't really want to think about my past or my struggles or
Yeah.
my life, right? And then it all was like, no, you can't hide from it anymore, Stevie.
Right.
You
Yeah.
kind of got to deal with that world, right? And then it's been a 5-year journey to rebuild from that, right, experience. But I think sometimes in life, like that slowing down is like a good and a bad, right? Because it's like the good is like, okay, I got some stuff I need to
Right.
personally work through to decide what success. Like success was always doing more. Now, how do I redefine what success is, right?
Yeah. I don't think I ever slowed down though.
Okay.
I mean, we had to pay the bills. It was,
Yeah.
selling stocks and different things to pay for the, marketing and different things that
Right.
we're still trying to do. So I don't think I ever slowed down. So I don't think
Yeah.
I'm there yet.
Okay.
Maybe when I hit 46,
Yeah,
I can
46, you can come hang out with me.
reflect back
Yeah.
on that.
Well, and
But
you don't have to, like, I think that's different personalities, right?
yeah, I mean,
That's it.
and I have, kind of going back to the journey that I've been on, and having this hard family life, I would say, and still trying to be number one in a market. I've had counselors. I mean,
Yeah.
my real estate coaches have been big.
Yeah.
Counselors have been big. Kind of reflecting on what I want
Yeah.
and where I want to be, and that's always been a struggle for me. Is they say, where do you want to be in 5 years? I don't have that answer.
Because of life's struggles over the last 10, like 5 years is too far to look ahead.
I don't, I never had it even when I was 2006 when I got
Yeah.
into business.
Just do
And
more.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was kind of the thing. I think for me now, and why I was here is I do want to help other agents grow. But if that in the process I can grow my team at the same time, and I can get out of production, and I can be more of like the leader, manager, bigger like growth person, that's where I see myself.
Yeah.
So the journey though from 2009 to 2019, when my wife was in the hospital all the time, like I'd be heading to a listing appointment, my wife would be calling saying, hey, I need to go to the ER, and I'm dropping it. Like I don't feel like my business has ever been one that I could work as much as other agents in our industry.
Okay.
I feel like maybe a superpower of mine is getting more done more efficiently than a
Yeah.
lot of people. You know, I don't go to the office and hang out with people. Like, I mean, I work, working works. There's a lot of real estate agents who work full time, but do they actually work?
Right.
That's part of it. So to me, I, put my head down and make phone calls and get as much done when I can. And then, you have kids and, then Kristen's going to the hospital and I'm like, well, what do I do with the kids? Well, I got to drop them off at my parents. And, just that was, I don't feel like I've ever had it like, oh man, I should step back. I think my business could be bigger if I didn't go through this.
Yeah.
Like I'd have way more time. Like it would be way easier. I don't think many people realize the struggle and how hard it is to do what I do with what's on my plate.
Yeah.
I think people just say, "Oh, he sells a lot of homes,
That's
whatever."
easy.
Like, yeah. Um, but I think you know, looking back, I wouldn't say I want to do it again, but I learned a lot that
Yeah.
time. I mean, you rely on God a little more.
Yeah.
You rely on your friends. I mean, we had our conversations.
Yeah.
So I think I've just built deeper relationships in a sense because of that. And I do think I can be a example for people who go through tough stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
To balance how to balance both the worlds of the tough stuff,
yeah,
but still do the career that you want to do.
right. And you learn to parent differently. Nora was she didn't want to miss school, but she was saying everyone hates her, and I like, hey Nora, we're going for a ride. Like
Yeah.
we can't have this.
Yeah.
But giving her permission to feel what she feels. But it was more like a lot of people I think would just say, "You're going to school. You don't hate us, but you're going to be grounded for the next month because you're saying that." But actually sitting down and saying, "Hey Nora, like it sounds like you're hurting.
Mm.
Like what's going on for you? Like, oh, you just don't care about me. Well, tell me why you feel that way." And I think those are kind of some things that I've learned along the way
Yeah.
in this journey of pain, of being empathetic and listening
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah. What in this sort of 10-year journey that you've been on, where did you find have you found peace and rest anywhere? Like what did you do for yourself that other men can sort of gravitate towards? Like I think like um uh, so my dad had a very similar situation as yours, right? Where his wife was very sick, and then kids were sick.
Sure.
It was more mental health than yours,
Yeah.
right? It was a mental health issue. Um, but in I love my dad, and he's apologized for it, which I think was one of the coolest things of my journey over the last 5 years. And my dad saying, "You're right, like I did those things, and I have to own those." But he just laughed and worked, right? He just was
Sure.
like, "Hey, like I can't handle diving into this,
Yeah.
right? And participating, my job is just to provide, and that's what I'll do, right? Less on the like I'll be there to make sure that this stuff happens."
Yeah.
And I know you've chosen the opposite, where you're willing to stop the work in order to do the thing. You still have a very successful career. I think you have some regret. It sounds like that your career isn't bigger or further along because of that, but you were willing to sacrifice. So I want to honor you for
Yeah.
that. Like I
Thanks.
don't know if anybody told you that's very honorable because I did not have that.
Sure.
So I know in the thick of it with your 11-year-olds, you probably don't feel that.
Right.
But as a 46-year-old that dad didn't do that,
I appreciate that.
they will, right? And if
Yeah.
they don't, like other people see it of you. So, I think sometimes that's where you can maybe even get business or opportunities because people see that you
Yeah.
are willing,
They see a real me.
real you, right?
Yeah.
And I think your willingness to
But
start
I would
sharing those things.
say work has been an outlet.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say I maybe didn't go what your dad did, but there were times when I was like, that's my escape.
Yeah.
It's easier to be at work than it is at home. And when Kristen was really struggling and I would say there's a couple regrets. There was just so much anxiety about bringing her to the hospital that there was maybe one or two, and she might say 10. It's kind of blurry.
Yeah.
That I'm like, Kristen, I just can't do it. Like I can't go to the ER right now. And Kristen's was unique because with chronic pain, um, doctors, they're very skeptical.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's just seeking drugs. Like that's what it ends up
Well, and that's what it
becoming.
became, right? Because
Yeah,
of and my mom was that, right? So my mom became addicted to the drugs,
sure.
right? And so I see the both sides,
Right.
right? Where it's like the person in pain, um, that's legitimate, but there are also the mental health side where they abused it,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
like my mom was on pain pumps and so much like I don't know how she functioned with the amount of narcotics they were
Sure.
pumping into her, right? So I get both ways, but it's very difficult to figure. I don't know how doctors even begin to figure
I
that
mean,
out.
and that so like Kristen, like she took what the doctor prescribed,
Right.
but there were many times when she was in major pain and she would choose not to, and I'd be like, "Hey, Chris, you got to take it." Like, but she's like, "Well, I don't want to be labeled this way. I don't want to be
Right.
labeled, or
Yeah.
I don't want to become dependent." But then when we'd go to the doctor at the hospital, and they say you can't have anything, or narcotics or whatever, like,
Right.
and her pain is so bad, and she's, you know screaming to me saying, "Luke, break my leg. I
Right.
need pain medicine." Like, show them that something's hurting.
Yeah.
I don't care, like I think most people would have said, you know, I need a break from this long before I did. But there
Yeah.
were times I can't, like the amount of anxiety and stress I see your loved one hurting so much,
Yeah.
not to be able to do anything. And then the doctor saying, can't have any medicine.
Yeah.
Like it was that ate me up.
Yeah.
And then I see some of that with Gavin when he has like these flare-ups of not doing good.
Yeah.
I can tell my anxiety is like, oh man, I'm kind of out of control here. Like
I can't fix
I
it.
can't fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is our innate like want, right?
Right.
As a
Yeah.
father, as a spouse, as a husband, but just as a dude, right? I think our goal is like, oh, like there's got to be an answer, and I should be able to fix it or find
Yeah.
that answer, right?
Yeah. So work was an outlet. So I did do some counseling. I don't know if you've heard of EMDR
Yeah.
counseling. That
Yeah.
was big for me.
Tell me about that. So I've had people talk about it. I did not. I have not done it. I don't think I need it at this point because I know all this. Like,
You've worked through your things.
well, I mean, it's always a battle to work through things, but I think a lot of the times it's you explain it and then I'll tell you if I've actually accomplished it, maybe. Or,
Sure.
right? Like, I've heard of people going through it and it being a significant thing. What is
I mean, I don't know. I don't.
EMDR?
Yeah. It has to do with eye movement therapy.
Okay.
It's not like talk therapy. It's more you have to come up with a memory. So if I think of like something traumatic in most cases.
Yep.
So like Kristen being in the hospital and saying, "Hey, I need you to break my leg." Like that's a traumatic thing for me
Right.
to have to go through. So I have to come up with that memory again. But before I do that, I basically go into my my safe place or happy place, and you start looking at a light that goes back and forth.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly, like Kristen, if you ever had her on the show, because she could give you a whole
Yeah.
different perspective. It like opens up this hippocampus,
Okay.
something in your
Different
brain
in your
that
brain.
has like, you have like this stuck trauma, and it opens it up, and then you're able to think of yourself in a better position. Like, so it's
Okay.
like, well,
So it takes the trauma, it gives it a spot in which it's comfortable to deal with, or
Yes.
is mentally able to deal with, and it kind of like pops or
yeah,
releases
it, like,
that.
really, yeah.
Is the
So like
goal?
then I have to think of a time when I'm in a really good place. So, let's just say I just won a basketball game and I'm all this energy and excitement.
Yeah.
And now I have to insert myself in this picture at the hospital.
Okay.
And what would this person tell you?
Yeah.
And you kind of talk through yourself, and then you're, back, this
And
eye
someone is
movement.
leading you through
Someone's leading you
those
through it. Yeah.
those
Yep.
thought.
There's
like,
actually
okay,
someone who's phenomenal in Grand Rapids,
who's that?
who does the EMDR
Who's the person?
counseling. Jeff Dwarsheis.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is that where you went?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he actually does it all on Zoom, so it just makes it
Okay.
easy.
Okay.
So
How
yeah,
does he do it?
he puts the light really close to the
Okay.
screen, and you're
Just
talking.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that's life changing for anybody.
Yeah.
It's
So did it release those things, or did it give you language to be able
not
to
really
tell?
actually physical reaction.
Physical
like the
reaction.
amount of like, because you also, as you're going, you say, well, what do you feel? Okay, I feel anxious.
Yeah,
Okay.
body's tense or
Yeah.
whatever.
Out of
Right.
like on a scale of 1 to 10, how anxious are you feeling? Well, I feel a 9. What else are you feeling? Well, I feel scared. Okay. You feel, where do what is that? Well, it's a 7. And where do you feel it? Well, I feel that in my chest or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
as you go through, he then asks you at the end and you say, well, it feels like a 3 now. Okay. Well, then let's keep going. And he gets it all the way down to a 1 or 2. And then
Okay.
he moves on to the
To the
next
next
memory.
trauma
Yeah.
or memory.
It's
Okay.
it's very bizarre. I kind of think of it like Men in Black when they put
Yeah,
the
the
light out your
zapper.
eyes and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
zap and they just completely forget. It's
Yeah.
not that extent, but it's that theory of, hey, we've gone through some hard things,
Yeah.
but it works through those so they don't feel as big. Because
Yeah.
next time Kristen's not now feeling sick, I don't have this immediate of what if she goes to the hospital?
Right.
Like I have, good memories,
Yeah.
better memories, better feelings about it.
Right. That you can accomplish her going to the hospital. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't have to be as much of a traumatic experience anymore.
Right.
Because you're not carrying that trauma with you. Is that the idea?
Correct. Yeah.
That you've been able to release that trauma.
So if
you're
like
not
you've been in
carrying
a
it.
car accident, like that sort of thing, where like you see someone coming up behind you, are they going to stop you? You get all tense. Well, if you
Right.
work through this, that helps with
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then if you're your dad did something that was traumatizing, like you work through that,
Right.
the pain, and then how you treat other people in those same situations is going to be different as well. So that was a big thing. There's when I retire, there's 3 things I want to do.
Okay. Yeah. Let me hear them. I'm gonna write them down.
Pickleball.
Pickleball. Number 1, pickleball. That's been one of your other
It's
outlets,
been,
right?
yeah, for sure. So pickleball, golf, and fishing.
Okay.
I think that's all I need.
Yeah.
Pickleball has been a big outlet. I started like 5 years ago, so it was right before COVID.
Yeah.
Someone on my real estate team, she's 70 years old, and she's like, you got to be playing this. I'm like, no way, pickleball.
Yeah.
That's got to be for old people. But yeah, I gave it a try, and then it was like, oh man, this is fun. And
Yeah.
this
You
is
got
awesome.
addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What is what's your rating now?
well, I'm at about like a 4.8.
Okay.
Not quite where I want. I'd like to get in the 5s.
Yeah.
But I play I play once a week, sometimes twice a week.
Okay.
And it's been fun.
Yeah.
So that's really been an outlet that at a certain point, I would say, I don't know if an addiction is right, because people do get addicted. Like it's just like this
Sure.
fun game and energy, and you play with friends and all this.
Well, I think you can make an addiction out of anything, right? I mean, I don't think that it becomes it depends on how you use it, right? But if it becomes a crutch to not deal with life,
I think
that's the addiction, right?
I think I did. I think I used it as an escape a little bit. Like maybe it's
Yeah.
not as, from a scale of bad addictions, it's probably on the lower end.
Yeah, I mean,
hopefully.
I started playing tennis like crazy a year and a half ago too, when the market changed and there wasn't anything to do, and I was like, okay, like what's my worth?
Yeah.
Should I do consulting? Should I do it was like, what do I do? Like, there's just nothing happening right now. And no matter who I call, doesn't seem to affect the outcome right now. So I'll just play tennis, right? And then that became a thing where it's like, okay, I'm just choosing to do tennis over actually doing the job, right? Like, that's where I think that becomes the unhealthy flips in, right?
And that's where I would, there are days when Kristen's just super tired, like her body's worn down, and she's like, Luke, hey, can you come home? And it's like, playing pickleball, and it was a struggle, because it's like I needed it, but then my wife needed me too, because I'm like, her chronic pain is like 2019. We're in U of M and some therapy and God, like all those things, like her pain pretty well cleared up, but she's been through a lot of trauma, childhood stuff. That she still struggles a lot, like she gets worn down. And then with Gavin, like he just wears her out like very quickly. So it's like there's time when she needs me home, and I'd be like, hey, I can't, I'm playing. And again, I've gotten better with that. There's still days like, hey, I really would like to do this.
Yeah, well, I think that's healthy. I don't think that's
Yeah.
unhealthy, right? I didn't choose any of those really healthy habits for myself before, but over the last 5 years, I've learned like, golf league is important. Like it is, like, yes, if I need to be home for something, I will, but like I need this 2 hours once a week for myself so that I can do all the rest, right? Kind of a thing. So there's nothing. I mean, it's always like if it's used as an excuse consistently, I think that's the question, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
how do I support those I love? But then how do I mean, a lot of the books and the coaches that you even talk to, I mean, you got to have your own bucket full
Yeah.
enough to be able to
Right.
even
Yeah.
do
For sure.
the other, right?
Yeah. Fishing is the other big one. Like I like golfing, but I don't have time to do golf
Yeah.
and pickleball. So I'll golf a couple times a year, but
Yeah.
fishing. Gavin likes fishing a lot.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, what can we do to have like this really awesome fishing trip? So like when we were in Florida, we
Yeah.
went, we tried to go for tarpon, didn't get any, but
Yeah.
just like different, sailfish, different things,
Yeah.
muskie, bass trips. So
You got a big boat? You got your own boat?
no,
No? You
I don't drive a
fishing
boat. I like people driving me.
Okay. All
So
right. So you like to go fishing on
I
other
like to
people's
go.
boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, I also get seasick. So it's like, it's kind of this, it's like, I love fishing, but like,
So
I'm taking
fly?
I'm
Are
taking
you
the
going
Dramamine. I don't
fly
do much
fish?
fly fishing.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I do
No.
on occasion. We've gone up to like Baldwin and
Yeah.
getting like the steelhead that are running,
Right.
or salmon, whatever they are,
Yeah.
kind of nasty beast looking
Yeah.
things, dragon looking things. But yeah, I mean, I just like getting out there, but I take my Dramamine, wear my
Yeah.
little bracelets, and I'm usually pretty good. So um,
So help me. Maybe this is the counselor in me. You're the 5 years older in me. Like, what stops you from doing more of those things now? Like, what? Why? You, you probably you don't need much. Like, if I think of Luke, I think he's pretty well financially set right now in life. Just my gut
sure.
and talking to you, you've done very well, and I know you're very smart with your money. You've invested in lots of different things. I'm sure you're worth a decent net worth now. Like, what? Why more? Like, what drives
Yeah.
you for being downstairs a month ago and dealing with a bunch of new agents and
Sure.
training them?
Sure.
Like,
Well, I
why
would
do
say
that
this
when you could
market.
just fish and golf?
Well, I can't. That's the problem. I mean, we have an expensive life.
Okay.
I think we spent 80 grand on health stuff last year
Between Gavin.
between Gavin and Kristen.
Yeah.
So, and this, like, the business is expensive, and that's the thing with real
Right.
estate. I think I'm very profitable. You see some of these agents who are like top of the top on
Yeah.
the real trends, and they're not making any money. Like, it
No.
looks like they're making money, but they're spending so much money to make the money.
Yeah.
So yes, financially we're doing okay, but 2023 was tough. Like, I spent a lot of money keeping the doors open, and it was selling some assets,
Mhm.
and then 2024, it's like, I got to revamp. So I got a second real estate coach who's expensive, and it was like, hey, we got to grow. And with grow, it's like, okay, well, you need to start buying more leads, and you need to be having, follow-up boss and different,
Yeah.
systems that I purchased. So like last year was really good, but the cash flow hasn't been like amazing. Like, it's still like real estate's hard out there
Yeah.
right now. So with like kind of the why do I do what I do? For when I first got in the business, it was like, I want to work and make so much money that my wife doesn't have to work
Mhm.
if she doesn't want to. Well, then turns out she couldn't work because of her health situation.
Yeah.
So my why became like it was good that was what I was focused on. Now the last 4 or 5 years is, how can I provide so that Gavin has the very best care?
Mm.
And that's what we're always searching for and looking for, because we want to give him everything we can.
Yeah.
So when you add, Christian school, which we believe in it,
Yeah.
but then Gavin does occupational therapy, he does lens therapy, he's dyslexic,
Yeah.
so he
Yeah.
does, the outside person for that.
Yeah.
And then we do a lot of specialty, like Kristen's going to Chicago today with Gavin. It's $5,500 to find a specialist who can see what else he's doing. He's doing supplement personal. That was $2,500 the other
Yeah.
day. Like, on paper, it looks like, yeah, we're making all this money, but we spend a lot just on the care that we have
Yeah.
to give Gavin and Kristen the advantages. And
So
then,
that is where the value and the why comes
I
from.
mean, that's where I'm working so hard, because I don't want that. Like, we have a nanny at home. Like, Kristen can't just do it by herself. We have a house cleaner.
right.
I don't like all those things end up being pretty expensive.
Yeah.
That a lot of families, they don't have to pay for this stuff,
Right.
and they have the energy to do the laundry and clean the house and stuff. So that's, for me, it's growing so that I can be a little bit more present. Like, my day usually ends at 5, but my brain's always working.
Right.
I don't work Sundays. I don't usually work Saturdays. So like during the weekday, I'm pretty big. I'd like to have this team where that it's going to be different work, but I'm not going out at 4:30 on a listing appointment.
Right.
So that's why I keep pushing.
Yeah. It's to give a big life to your kids and your wife and make sure that they have the best care that they
Yeah.
can. And that is your passion right now, then you would say, is just, or that is just like your drive is that?
I wouldn't say that's what I want my why to be.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'd love for my why to be that I'm, giving it to a bunch of people. Like, I like having the agents on my team providing, like, I like seeing them succeed.
Yeah.
Like the bigger my team grows, the more that, more people I can influence. Like that's a big thing for me as well. I don't love that I have to pay for some random Chicago doctor to see something that may or may not help or may not work.
Right.
But that is a reason why I work so hard today.
Right. So that's what drives you, is not necessarily the why of the drive.
Yeah.
Right. So the why, you're saying, as you're growing, is really to love on people more.
Yeah.
And the team is the outlet for you in that, then ultimately is to have people that you can influence and
I think
participate.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. Because originally it was all family. Felt like a family affair, right?
Sure. Yeah, there was brother first, and other brothers on.
Yeah. Now, how many people are in the team?
So we have 3 admins.
Okay.
So Donna, she's been with me for
like
14 years.
Steady, right? Yeah.
She was my first hire and
still
handles transactions. I have Julia, listing coordinator, rock star, super sweet lady.
Yeah.
So she handles just getting homes on the market and
Yeah.
kind of like my director of ops
Yeah.
kind of a thing, like implementing new things. I'm paying for her to go to Utah next month to shadow a team that does 750 deals a year. Spring Bee. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Nope.
And just kind of how they recruit and do their team meetings. And then Peggy, she's kind of do it all, but ISA, VIP program.
Okay.
And then I have, I'd say 4 full-time agents.
Okay.
It's kind of ebbs and flows. Like my brother Andrew, he could be out there crushing real estate, but he's fixing up a house right now. So the last like 4 months, he has not worked at all.
Okay.
And then, an agent on my team had a baby a year and a half, and just it's been hard for her at home. So it's been like 4. And now I have 3 agents currently working to get the real estate license.
Okay.
1 just passed this week, so 1 coming on board soon.
Okay.
And then interviewed a existing agent who's struggling to sell real estate, and I think I can influence that. I mean, that's if I'm looking for the perfect realtor that I would like to be on the team, it's someone who's probably been in the business 1 to maybe 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Who does under 4 million in business, where I think I can take them to 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And they don't have maybe the habits of someone who's been selling for 20 years. That's harder to like influence. And you've recruited, you get it. I just want people who can fill out a purchase agreement so I don't have to train them on everything.
Yeah.
But then they're moldable.
Yeah.
Is my goal with the team.
Yeah. And that's a hard person to find, right? Someone that, that's got that 2 years of experience, done enough transactions to at least understand the principles of how to do it, but then teach them how to like really go after it.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, which is fun, right? That's the fun that you want to get involved in, is more taking them from that, doing 10 deals a year at best to doing 40 or whatever, right?
I kind of want to see what I'm capable of as a leader. Like leadership has been, and I think I lead more by example.
Yeah.
I'm introverted by nature. This year and even the last year and a half has really been like, how do I build my leadership so more people want to follow me? And that's really what I've worked on through different training programs, through reading, and really just, following different people and what they do.
And so are you putting yourself in environments that challenge you to do that more?
Yeah. I mean, when I'm doing this Feed Your Mind thing and I'm given an hour on how to make $100,000 in real estate, that's pushing me.
Yeah. I could tell. Like when I walk past you, I'm like, Luke's standing up and giving a little presentation. I don't think that's your like want. I think like that was like, wow, okay, Luke. Yeah, go for it, buddy. Like, I almost came in and I was like, no, I'm just going to.
Well, I was like, man, such a familiar face. This feels so good. I see Steve out there.
Yeah, I almost came in and was going to be like, Luke's the man, right? Like, but then I'm like, I don't know the audience. I don't want to be that guy, right?
That would have been okay. But that's how we actually met in like kind of circling back to where I've been. Like we were asked to be on a panel for the
Yeah.
Michigan Realtor
Yeah.
Convention, 12, 13, 14, whatever many
13 or
years
14
ago.
years ago, yeah.
And it was me, you, Shannon, who's a huge realtor
Yeah.
in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and then the Alex out of
Alex.
Ann Arbor, and the amount of real estate combined that we had in the industry. But if I'm thinking about going in front of a group today, like I was in front of like 10 agents. Hardly anyone showed up. And the amount of anxiety I had to be sitting in front with other people
Yeah.
to now be like that, it's stretched me. It's good. I mean, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You don't think, oh, Luke's gonna be leading a group in front. But that's where I've tried to evolve and be a better leader. And
Right.
I feel like I've worked very hard to get where I am today. And like I feel like I've worked very hard on, like, reputation is big for me. That I feel like if I now put my focus in that leadership side and growing side, I believe I've done the right things that people respect me, and I'll grow my business because of that.
Well, I think that not that life is stable now, but now that life is at least labeled and understood with your home side, you can define your opportunities a little bit more, right? Like now that you know where Kristen is, where she's going, her physical, like I feel like you spent 10 years just trying to figure out what was going on, right? Gavin, the same thing. Not that it will fix anything, but you at least have labels and understanding now that then you can honor and work through. It allows you to then start growing again, right? I remember those periods with my Elliot and Amy, my ex-wife, where it's just survival, right? It's like okay, I'm just going to survive here. I'm going to, do what I need to do to provide and be around and everything. But I think it just takes time to, get to that point where you're like, okay, now I can start growing myself again to succeed, right? And help people, because I at least have the ability to handle this portion, right? So is there specific things that you're researching, or like you've always been a coached guy, right? I've never been a really a coached guy,
to me,
right?
Just think what you could have been.
I know, but that's the thing. I don't regret who I am,
No,
right?
I think you could be a coach, and you probably have done some of that.
I've done some coaching, right? So yeah, I mean, I even thought about it a couple. I mean, I've done a lot of interviews here at the podcast with a bunch of really great coaches, and one of them is a coach to me. But that's like I meet with them every quarter or something, and it's more just like, hey, I have this issue, help me fix it. Not like coach, not you, or it's every week or every other week where you're defining your goals and driving towards those specific goals and everything. I've thought of that, like, oh, would that be better for me or not? Like it's but you've always been a coached guy, right? I think that's sports. I was never a big sports guy. So I never really had that ingrained in me that a coach equals X, right? Return. But you said you hired a new coach. How did you determine that, and why did you decide to
Well, first of all, I think credit to you for getting where you are without the real estate coach. I think of the movie Good Will Hunting, when Matt Damon is trying to explain to his girlfriend, like, it just comes easy to him. Like, he's like, so like you think of like Beethoven, and he can just play. And then he's like, with me, like, I can just play. Like, that was his thing. Like, it just came easy for him. And I think you're in that mold where
thank you.
It just
I don't
comes.
know about all that.
I mean, it just, like, I don't know if it doesn't come easy. Like, I don't want to say that, but
no, I get what
you
saying.
have a gift that I would love to have. And for me in the real estate, I think I would have gotten here eventually, but it would have taken me a lot longer
without the coach.
Yeah. And maybe not even gotten here, but coming off of 2022, like, best year ever, life is great, taking the team to Mexico,
right,
to 2023, like, wait, what's going on here? Having a really tough year, still having the real estate coach that I've had for 14 years.
Workman?
No, actually, no. So I've had different coaches.
Yeah.
No, John Gualteri.
Okay.
I've been with him for maybe in 15 years now. Great guy, super smart.
Yeah, I remember the Workman conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We both interviewed with him or hang out with him at like a MAR event, and you're like, I'm signing up. And I'm like, He told me I couldn't sign up with him. And I was like, what? Wait, I want to. And he's
Right.
like, no, you're past what I can help you
Oh,
with. And I
sure.
was like, I don't know what that means.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unhelpable.
Unhelpable. Yeah. Maybe that was why I never got a
Right.
coach,
It
because
could
the
have
one I
been.
wanted like
I
rejected
stole
me.
him. Yeah. So like John is great, especially with what I've dealt with Gavin and like just having almost like a therapist in a
Yeah.
sense. Like he has great business ideas. Um, and then when I was actually invited to a lunch and learn, kind of like what I'm doing, it was by Jason Lash
Yeah.
and Michael Hallickson from Club Wealth, who was once the #1 realtor in the world,
Yeah.
selling 1,000 homes or whatever. He was there in Grand Rapids, so I went to it, and I'm thinking, oh man, like this guy seems like just even what he was saying, like he's like, hey, you know what, we have these events twice a year. Just so you know, if you show up drunk, you're gonna be kicked out, or if
Wow. Which is a normal thing in real estate.
yeah, and
right?
if you flirt with someone who's not your wife, you're out of the program completely. And I was like, that just felt different to me. And
Yeah,
then
very
his
different.
ideas were just like, think bigger. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna call this guy and say, you know, can I coach with him? Like, is it possible?
Yeah.
What's it gonna cost? You know, I'm already spending tons of money on everything
Yeah.
else. And I had a conversation with him. He's like, you know what, your business isn't set up yet with systems that if I just, you know, there'd be too much to change. So start with someone a little bit lower in the program, and then after 6 months, if you're feeling good, then switch to me. So that's why I was 6 months with someone else, got some like daily huddle things in play, you know, switch CRMs, and then switch to him. It's probably been a year.
Okay.
Now.
And what has that brought you? Like, there's always, like, I think of any in real estate and in our worlds, everything is an expense or a tool, and there's got to be a return on investment, right? That's how I always thought of, from my first time getting an equity line and paying for Jeremy Mullen's photography equipment, because he was just let go, and he's like, I don't have any equipment. I don't know what to do. You buy me a computer and the camera and equipment, I'll work for you for 3 months free. And if we like each other, we'll keep going. If we don't, I get to keep the stuff.
Sure.
And I was like, how much? And he's like, it's gonna be like $8,000. And this was like 15 years. Like that was like, I was a painter, right? This is like the beginning of my career. And I was like, okay. And we took an equity line out of our house to pay $8,000. And so the return equals me here, right? I think of that return. I was on video then immediately with Jeremy recording me. That was 15, 16 years ago,
wild.
right? Like, without that, I probably wouldn't be doing a podcast and feel comfortable on camera, right?
Yeah.
It's, so there's always a return on investment, some negative, some positive. But so your new coach is no different, right? It's a return either for time or money, or just for, you know, just for passion and excitement, right? This is, I pay Wally here to do this. I don't necessarily know if there's a return on investment of that, other than it's a passion and it's fun. And Wally actually, I think, is undercharging me, but I say that so he doesn't overcharge me later on, right? To hold him accountable to what he pays me.
Yeah.
But so tell me about that idea of, I'm going to invest in the Club Wealth guy to get me to here.
Yeah.
How has that journey been for people that are debating the idea of investing in a coach, right? Because you don't see that, you don't mentally think of, like, it's not like going to buy in Zillow leads, right?
You know, it's
and
hard
tomorrow
to track.
I'm in front of a,
But I've considered myself, and I just kind of heard it recently, in the what they call the messy middle.
Okay.
It's like this medium-sized team where you have 6 to 12, 6 to 14 agents, and so much of the business is the team leader's production.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's where I've been.
Yeah.
And that's where I thought I would, like, that sounds good. Like, I've been profitable. But if you look back at how hard I work and how much I provide for my agents, like, because I don't work buyers, I just pass on the buyer, like, which is great. Like, I love what I have.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy one to retire, because you can't sell your business, because I'm the only one, you know, I'm the person who sells the most.
Yeah.
If I stop selling, if I go on vacation, if I take a break for a month and the money's not coming in, well, after 6 months, the doors will be closed.
Right.
Like, so either I need to get very, like, small and,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. That's
build
what I did.
my
Yeah.
small,
Yeah.
this small team
Yeah.
and just crank.
Super efficient and
Yeah.
just you doing the business. Yeah.
Or a different model, which I didn't know how to do. I didn't have like my coach, John, who I love. He's not, he's, he probably has coached people who have, but he didn't do that himself.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, Luke, you're good. Like you're profitable. Like this is good. And I'm thinking, man, I just burned myself out with 2023. How do I build a team so that I can get out of listings more? And I want to give more opportunity to my team. Some of my team members were thinking about moving too, thinking, hey, we had a tough year. I'm like, well, hey, what if I give you some more listing opportunities?
Yeah.
But how do I do that and still be profitable where I'm giving up 50% instead of me taking the 100%?
Capturing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like he had this model of how to do that.
The Club Wealth guy.
The Club Wealth,
Yeah.
of building teams. Like that Club Wealth is like, it's a team
Building system.
And he's done it at the top level, so why not work with him?
Yeah.
So no, it hasn't been easy. He's pushing me, and he wants me in by 8 a.m. every morning, 8 to noon, just calling people.
Yeah.
That's what
The
he
old
says.
adage, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
like it's all that
The
matters.
Glover thing.
And
Yeah,
he's
the whole
like,
thing.
I had a call with him yesterday, and he's like, what time are you in on Monday? I was like, 8:15. He's like, well, why are you 15 minutes late?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I haven't been going to school and, all this. So it's, he's tough on me, tougher than any coach I've had before.
Right. Which is what you're paying him to do.
It is. Yeah, I don't like it, but it's, I like it,
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you have to determine if you're willing to commit to that, right? Like that,
Yeah.
that is the tough part of hiring a coach that's tough. It's like, okay, like, am I really willing to commit to that growth?
Yeah.
Do I really want that then?
Yeah.
Is he really, that's a gut decision.
So today I'm breaking the rules because I'm supposed to be calling. So when I said, you're like, when can you meet? I'm like, can we do in the afternoons? Like I'm trying.
And I knew that.
I'm trying to keep the mornings open.
Well, I have some influence because I knew when you said like 3:30, I was like, no, I'm not doing 3:30 because I know my best time is this. And I want to be at my best.
I think that's okay. I mean, I'm not doing this. If I was doing this every week, I'd be in trouble. But so to me, like I'm starting to see the seeds that I've, starting to grow right now by having this team. And I know there's gonna be challenges with this. Like if I go to 20 agents, like that's a whole different level of challenges. So to me, that's I'm still finding that, but I like that I have a coach who's done it before, and I'm surrounded by other people within that company who've done it, and that's really what I'm looking at right now. Is has there been a return? Yeah, I had a good year last year, but I also spent way more money trying to get there because I'm at a point right now with like 3 admins. Like my team has the potential to really grow and still keep 3 admins. Right now, I'm just paying for 3 admins. And we're not having enough sales to, really support what that.
Yeah, you're supporting it with your own production.
Correct.
Ultimately.
Yeah, and I want to be able to get to a point
and
where.
you don't want to lose them because,
they're great.
Hire new. Yeah. Yeah, I always, I guess in my experience, it's doubling, right? So you're at that bottom level, like you said, of a team, of a functional team, not just you and one showing agent or you and one assistant stuff, right? Like that's one model. But I always say it's double. You need to double. And if you get stuck in the doubling, then you're stuck. Right.
Yeah.
So you're at that, you 1 or 2 and it's really easy with a couple brothers, right? Because everybody loves each other.
Right.
And then once you have to actually have people that aren't family and you have to really, drive relationship and everything like, okay, now we've got 5, but then to get to the next level, you have to have 10.
Right.
And then that's once you have 10, that's a very different growing pain.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then once you have 10, then you can't go to 15. 15 is Neverland, right? So I
might just, hire you to help me get there.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that, but it's a double. You end up doubling, which we got caught in the double when we were, that 300 transaction year and 24 or something like that agents, and we had the 3 offices. We needed to go to 50.
Yeah,
and that just. We couldn't culturally go to 50. I didn't have systems. I didn't have the leadership ability to go to 50 at that moment.
Yeah.
There's a number of reasons why we ended up having Berkshire Hathaway acquire us because we were not financially viable unless I had a big influence of cash to go to 50.
And that's
right.
That's why I'm, you got to keep working.
Right. You got to choose. Yeah. And then it was a choice. Right.
Because then it's like, I love Home Realty. I plan to stay with Home Realty, but that building, if Home Realty can't support 20 new agents in my office. So okay, I'm going to be renting a space or buying a building for
Right.
home realty. There's a lot of stuff that I need to figure out as I grow, and it actually like I like new things.
Yeah, the challenge. I think
Yeah,
I think your passion is the
I
challenge,
think
right?
so.
Yeah.
And there's new things, new technologies. Oh, this is going to help me get there. Like,
Right.
I enjoy this. Like, I wake up and this is fun. Because for a while, it just felt like, I'm kind of tired of
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah.
I know I'll have those days when, people don't want to work with you or someone quits or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy like that. My wife doesn't. She'd love for me to just sit at home and be
Yeah.
content.
But
And
you wouldn't be content. That's not who you are.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No. No. And she
Which
knows
then
that.
she wouldn't be happy either
She
because
knows
you wouldn't
that.
be content just sitting
Right.
at home, right? But yeah, I think that's who you are, right? When I think of Luke, there's nothing that once you choose to do it, you don't do it small, right?
Unless I know I'm not going to be good at it.
And then but like the pickleball was the prime example. The
Sure.
minute you got into pickleball, you were like crazy about like I felt like every month you're like, dude,
I
you
want
need
to
play
be,
pickleball.
yeah, I want to.
Right, but you don't want to be like just playing pickleball for fun. Like,
Yes.
it's fun, but it's only fun if you're learning, growing, and getting better.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
So that's not me. Right. So
Right.
for me, it's like I'm playing tennis and I want to get better and I'm competitive, but I also am like, I'm 46. Like, I'm not
Sure.
like, what am I really
Right.
like I'm out here having fun and laughing and enjoying it. And I can get better. Right now, I'm only competitive because I really don't want Sawyer to beat me, and he's really close to
Okay.
beating me.
Yeah.
And so now I'm getting a little bit more fired up to get a little better.
Sure.
But I think that that's always you. I mean, even in your first comment of like, okay, what do you get out of this, or what's your return for doing the podcast? What is your goal?
Yeah.
That's just your brain
It
goes
does,
there,
yeah.
right? And I appreciate that because I think that's I mean, it's so like we need all different kinds of people. That's not a negative, right? It was like, you made me stop for a minute. I was like, what am I like? Okay, what am I getting? What's like? Do I need okay, my return is it's a passion thing for me, and
Yeah.
I'm feeling connected with Luke again, and we haven't hung out for a while, and this is great. Like that's I will leave here after interviewing Jason this morning, and now like I will feel very full, like of just joy and honor to be with you guys, right? And hope that the world takes it and that someone learns from whatever you say. But yeah, I think that there's this balancing act, right? That I love that your brain does choose. Like, I don't think, again, like fishing, you haven't gotten into fishing because you know that then you will get a big boat and you'll hire a captain
Sure.
to captain the boat. And
golf is one thing that I'm okay with not being great at. Like there are certain that I can be content with just having fun.
Yeah.
Pickleball, I don't know what it was. Just it hooked me. But you're right. I don't like being average.
Yeah.
And I grew up with 3 brothers, and we all wanted our dad's love and affection. Who can get that by scoring the goal the fastest?
Was that a thing?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I think that's one of the reasons why he was great with us. Like, he coached all of us, but I did want him to say, Luke, good job.
Yeah.
And stand out compared to my, brothers.
Yeah. You knew that accolade was a critical component of your childhood, which then it still plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you get the accolades now?
So I'm at a company that gives no awards. It was hard for me at first.
Yeah.
I've had people say, like, would you rather win or not lose? I don't know if you've heard that before, like that question.
Yeah.
And a lot of, for me, for a long time, was like, I don't want to lose. Like, the pain of losing is so bad. But then I realized, like, you can still lose along the journey and you can still win overall. Yeah. And there is some, like, when I hit those goals, I get my own internal, like, happiness. And then, an hour later, I'm off to the next thing. But I don't know. I mean, the more you do, I think I like the recognition. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say, we're doing some radio ads now, and someone was like, hey, I saw you on the radio. Like, I like
that feeling,
the notification, people taking notice of me.
Yeah.
So I think I still get it here and there.
Same thing as your dad.
You telling me, hey, I see what you did with your kids and your family, and you didn't just desert them during that. Like, that feels good to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I need it, but it feels good. But I think I have a lot of self-worth.
Yeah.
And I think I'm happy with that.
Yeah. You think you are, or are you?
I am happy with that. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to be okay with your own skin sometimes, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but and Kristen has challenged me before. She says, "Well, what if you lost your real estate business?
yeah.
Would you
Where's your
still
value?
have value? Because she had everything stripped away from her. Like
Right.
she had this identity at DeVos Children's House. She was very good at what she did. She was
Yeah.
recognized there. And then when she had to leave because of her pain, like she's now laying in bed, 8 hour,
Mhm.
8 of the 12 hours. She's in tons of pain. She doesn't have a job.
Mhm.
Her family deserted her. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But she's like, "Hey, Luke, would you still be content?" And it's like, I don't like, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that because I know what I have. And,
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah, I think I would still have self-worth, but I know I would,
We struggle for a minute.
my mind goes to, well, if I lose my real estate business, well, then I'm going to start something different and I'm
Yeah,
going to
you're
get
just gonna
good
be
at,
pro
I'm going to
pickleball
get,
player.
and I'm going to get good
Yeah.
at, no, I'm not that good. 41, remember, Steve, I got to be 22.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't like the
To-
top girl like 15 or
She is,
something?
yeah,
Someone was
she's-
telling me that
yeah.
yesterday.
She's young. Yeah.
Yeah.
She might be 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'd kick my butt. But yeah, that's like, I think my mind goes to, okay, I just do something different. I get something good at something else. But she has a point. It's like, hey, at a certain point, you have you and you have God and your faith, and that's going to get you through these times when we don't get awards anymore, but there's things that the fellow 30-day challenge. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna go out and win it, and
Yeah.
I won that.
Yeah, and you did
contest,
that, right?
Yeah. So I still,
And
that
now
stuff
everyone's
pushes
doing
me.
it.
Now
Don't you feel popular? Like I thought that I feel like there's like 4 or 5 teams that did that
Yeah.
over the last like month or two. I don't know. And I was like, oh, Luke started that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, Luke. And I know you didn't. I knew that was a system from your coach.
Yeah.
But it was like, why is everybody now all of a sudden putting that out on social media? Luke
Well,
was the first guy.
I think it was successful, and I think people saw it being successful elsewhere. And I'm sure I influenced some people, but
Right.
I think there's a lot of realtors like me too who they want to sell more and they want to get their name out there, and they so and that's part of maybe like I love this job, but I sometimes hate it because for someone who always is chasing the new thing, there's so many new things in here. And I'd love to just coast. Like I work, play pickleball a little more, fish a little more, but still keep my job.
Yeah.
But I know there's other agents who are out there trying to steal it from me. I mean, there's this business anyone can get in at it's an easy business to get into.
Yeah.
And they can get their license. They're super good at social media or SEO or whatever it might be, and they're taking business from you. I think I remember speaking in Grand Rapids to, for our members, and I started the speech saying, how many believe that if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you always got? I said, people raise their hands. I said, guys, I don't believe that. Like, there's too many real estate agents getting in the industry who are trying to take your business. And if you do what you've always done, you're not going to sell as much real estate as you did. And there's so much stuff changing that sometimes I just love for it to be like, oh crap, I just saw someone do, there's videos coming out now where, and you do them now, where you talk about the house before you do the video in the house.
Yeah.
I've not done that yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, crap, everyone's starting to do that. Now I have to do that. It's always another thing. And I hate that about real estate.
Yeah, but if you find your niche in the way that you do it well, I don't think you'd have to do them all, right? You just need to do some of them. But I get it.
It's just more time and it's more money and all those things. And now your clients are expecting you go on a listing appointment and they're like, well, this agent does this. It's like, well, I better do this or I'm going to lose that listing.
Well,
so,
Nextdoor can do that for you. It's not very hard. It's
and I actually emailed them today. Said, hey, what does it take for
They have that program.
That?
They have that program. It's not much. It's like another $50 or something like that. And it's your time, but show up to the shoot and do it real quick. You're fine.
But when you're listing 80 to 100 homes, that's a lot of time.
Well, that's why you need your team to do it.
But
Right.
Right.
I don't think it's necessarily, you don't have to be in every single one of those shots. You can have your team, a team member, do it for your team. It's not something that you have to be in front of. I think that's it's always a balancing act in this industry, right? To find that, like, where do you stop and where do you start, right?
Yeah.
But if you love the challenge of growing after it always, then you're going to try new things. I think what you talk about superpower or that it came natural. I think the thing that came natural for me was being dyslexic and just having the like, well, I'm just going to send it out in the world. If it's broken, it's broken. I don't care. And
Sure.
that's different than 90%,
Oh
I
yeah.
think, of people. And that was always Bill Pearl when we were growing. He'd always say like, yeah, your superpower is just doing stuff
Yeah.
really, really quickly before other people do it, and just not giving up on it when like someone says like that's really crappy. It's
Right.
like, if you believe in that, yeah, doing a video in front of the house, which we've done for, my team was doing 7 or 8 years ago. Now everybody's
Right.
doing it,
Yeah.
right? Like I remember like our listing process was always list on Thursdays. No one was listing on Thursdays. Now everybody's listing on
Yeah.
Thursdays, right? Like, and I didn't create any of those things. I just heard them somewhere, or
Yeah.
but you just do it and do it quickly. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right,
Well, you're in more of which is good in real estate. You're the ready, fire, aim.
yeah,
There's a lot of realtors and just people in general. It's ready, aim, aim, aim,
Yeah.
aim, aim,
Yeah.
and then they fire.
yeah,
And it's like, well, you already fired and you fixed what you missed, and now you're doing it again and you're getting the business. So
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I mean, Wally remembers. I think I've definitely had to learn how to interview doing these podcasts, right? Because
Yeah.
I think it was like my first or second interview went out there on YouTube, and I got the comment from a guy like, I don't know how you can listen to this dude because he talks over his guests all the time, and he must be a narcissist. And I was like, I don't think anybody's really ever called me that.
Sure.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but not normally. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like, yeah, I need to be conscious of like asking a question and letting the person answer, or but if I don't, it's like I said to I actually put a like, thank you, this is my second podcast in this thing ever.
Sure.
And he's like, oh, the way you talked, I thought you've been doing this for 10 years. And I was like, okay, like I'll take that back, right?
Yeah.
Like, if
yeah.
you think I'm that comfortable and I'm doing it for 10 years, and so you're going to bag on me because of that,
Sure.
well, then I'm actually doing something right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like, but I think that's hard for people to get across. That mindset is just being like, yeah, like just go do the video in front of the house. Like, but you're not going to mess it up. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not that hard.
It's more of a time thing.
Yeah. But and then
But I like the idea. Hey, just have your team do it.
yeah, like
know?
you don't have to do that, especially if you're trying to drive, your team to be the ones that are getting the phone call. Like, if they're
Right.
getting the buyer phone call, why aren't they the one in front of the house?
Yeah.
Right.
Ah,
And
good idea.
you're the one who's just putting it out on social media, and you're claiming all of it, right? It's your
Right.
listing. But that's all in the verbiage of like Luke's newest listing. Listen to Heather talk all about
Yeah.
it, right? Like, Heather's showing off Luke's newest listing week at whatever,
Yeah.
and it becomes part of the ethos. But yeah, I think that, and then it drives it drives individuality for them. They learn and grow from it, and they feel honored because you allowed them to do that, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was a little strange this week or 2 weeks ago, because Smulligan did that. Smulligan's got like 2 videographers now
Okay.
on his team, and they have like a nicer house, luxury house, not really luxury, but a nicer house in Rockford. And they did 5 videos of 5 different agents in front of the house, right? And they, I think they only put 1 out on the Smulligan, but
Okay.
following,
Sure. Yeah.
or they're tagging their team.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, like,
Seems a little excessive.
it seems excessive,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I was like, but that's a lot of content.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I see 5, but the general public might only know Jim Smith, and they only saw it once.
Right.
The general
Yeah.
public, like, I follow
Not a bad
Smulligan
idea.
because he
Yeah.
worked for
I
me
actually
forever.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Smulligan,
Does he have a big team?
he's got a big team now.
Okay.
He's got 20.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's probably, he's surpassed me. So he was on my team for a long time. He started with me for a number of years, and now he's at KW North, Mike Smulligan, and he's got 20 plus agents
Sure.
now. He's got 3 videographers and a good handful of admins, and just he's one of those guys where I would never have seen what he's created, and
Sure.
really proud of how far he's gotten. He just wasn't, you look at some guys and you're like, yeah, they're going to crush it. And Mike just grinds it.
Yeah.
He's just a grinder.
Yeah.
And he's one that he's always looking for and doing the next thing. Right?
Yeah.
He's the AI guy. He's always on that next forefront. So I don't know how much he's actually going to listing appointments, or he's got a couple guys that have been with him for quite a while that I think are now listing specialists.
Sure.
And I think he's at that next
Yeah.
level.
Good for him.
And so, yeah, so look him up. Smulligan, Mike Smulligan.
I'll look him up.
But I think so. We can. There's always going to be critics, right? There's always going to be critics that will say, like, I can't believe Mike would, like, that's so dumb. Like, why would you have 5 of your agents doing the same basically video in front of the same house, like talking about luxury listings in Rockford, and it's not really that much of a luxury listing. It's like a $600,000 house, like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't like it for him. It doesn't matter. Like, it's content, it's opportunities.
Yeah.
His agents feel really good about like being in front of it and having that opportunity, right? And I think that is the shift a little bit on teams, is getting away from the Zillow buy and the lead buy and getting into more helping them create social media
Yeah.
and content and creating content, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Ken down in Florida, I'm sure you follow.
Pozak.
Pozak,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, like that's just farming.
Right.
He's just done
Yeah.
it on a huge level. But
Sure.
he's just a farmer.
Yeah.
Like,
Smart
and it's
guy.
amazing, right? So I mean, we used to farm with 15,000 postcards a month, right? Like, and had a whole production team just doing postcards,
Yeah.
right? That's
But
changed now.
that's the beauty of this job, is you can make it in so many different ways.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, you just need to figure out your thing that
Yeah.
you like, and it doesn't have to be video or whatever you want. But I think that leadership, I'm proud of you for going down that road.
Yeah,
I know
appreciate
it's a hard shift
Yeah.
to say, like, oh, I'm gonna focus on hiring and leading people that can hurt me emotionally or financially, right? Instead of me just grinding out another listing appointment, right? And not that that's a bad thing. I think that any world that you want to live in, like, I'm enjoying going to listing appointments again. It's been a long time that I've like been, showing buyers around and like doing the job. It's exciting again for me right now.
That's
I
good.
was just like, okay, like, yeah, Rachel and I are just going to crank out some deals and have fun with it. Right. And find passion in just that
Mhm.
space. But I think that, you're at a place that if you can lead and grow and invest, then do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's a long term. I'd love for this business to fund other businesses,
Yeah.
which I've kind of done
You've done that,
on a
right?
smaller level.
Right. You've invested.
But I'd love, like that Shark Tank mentality,
Yeah.
like to just, and then be the leader for these people, mentor
Yeah.
for these people who are looking to grow. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to continue doing those sort of things.
Yeah. I would just say to you or to anybody, like, don't start doing now, then wait for later.
Sure.
Right. Because I think a lot of us get into, again, that like, I need to create this system, or this thing's got to happen before that thing.
Yeah.
That was one thing that we learned with agents. Great, you've got 3 in the wing. You need to have 3 more that are coming next quarter.
Right.
And then 3 more the next quarter.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, our goal was every five every like 90 days for a period of time, because we knew that out of 5, 1 would last. So
Sure.
at the end of the year, we'd have like 4 decent ones
Yeah.
out of the 18 to 20 that came.
Yeah.
And that we just had to, it felt wrong to mentally say that.
Right. Yeah.
But like, it just is the business we're in. And we just realized, like, we're giving you hundreds of leads. We're giving you hundreds of opportunities, but you can't make a salesperson. They either naturally are willing and are going to grow and do the job, or they're not. And everybody thinks that they are and you can do personality profiling,
Sure. Yeah.
all of it. But one of the books that I really like is Grit. Like, you can't, like, the grit thing, you can't figure out. Like Smulligan would be a prime example. And Mike knows this. We interviewed 2 guys at the exact same time, Smulligan and another guy. The other guy had all the resume, like,
Yeah.
Star football player, big team dude, working at a big for-profit company, leading trainings, could, just walk in a room and everybody wanted to be around him. He was afraid of the phone.
Yeah.
Like, and Mike would just take over the phone and take on all the leads. And then Mike would be the one that, like, I think within the first 30 days, he was complaining about the fact that I'm giving leads to other people and not to him because they weren't converting. And why
Sure.
would I want to waste my money on them?
That's a winner.
And I'm like, okay, all right, we'll get there,
Yeah.
Mike. Right,
Yeah,
we'll get there,
he's-
Mike. But I think that, so I would, if you're going to grow and you're going to want to build, it's you go.
Now's the
right?
time.
Now's the time. And I think that anybody in their careers, if they say, like, I want to get to that next level, it's like, then act that way now.
Sure.
Right? Don't act that
Oh,
way
yeah.
later on.
I talk about identity with a team. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of agents, they identify with whatever amount of production they've done. So if they've sold 10 homes, well, I'm a 10 sale producer. Well, if you want to get to 20, you don't wait
Yeah.
to get to 20 by just, hoping you sell more. You need to start doing what other people do that are selling 20.
Yeah.
You need to start identifying as an agent who's selling 20 homes.
Yeah.
And that's big. What you're saying, like,
Yeah.
that's where I'm headed. Like, I
Yeah.
identify as an agent has a big team.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I need to start doing
And
those
this
things.
crank, right? So, anything that we didn't talk about that you want
I
to
don't,
get off your
I
chest?
feel
that
like
you can talk
I bore my soul today.
about? You
So,
do? Good. That's good.
that was good
right?
today.
Yeah.
This was
that's good.
healing for the soul.
I hope so.
That's good. Love
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I enjoy always our talks because I do feel like I'm 5 years older with you. A lot of times I don't always feel 5 years older with people, right?
Sure.
And just like I'm always happy that you like listen to my wisdom, even if you don't take it sometimes.
I was gonna jump to a different company, and you're like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I took your advice then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
I'm
listened to you.
glad that has worked, I think, for
Yeah,
you so far.
Been great.
Right? Yeah. And there's not always greener pastures,
Sure.
right? Sometimes we just have to settle in and just
Times
do
you
the
got to
job.
water the dead grass where you're at, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not always greener, right? So, well, thank you for
Yeah.
your time. This is Luke
Love it.
Bouman, and I'm obviously
Bouman.
Bouman, and I'm Steve Okers, and this was I'm Just Steve, the podcast, right, Wally? Anything else? That's a wrap.